Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, today we are diving into a huge economic shift that's already happening all around us. It's a change that's completely rewriting the rules on how growth, jobs, and technology all work together. Yeah, that's a really powerful statement, right? And it gets right to the heart of what we're talking about. For decades, the rule was simple. If the economy grew, that meant more jobs. It was almost a given. But that fundamental link, it's been broken. So what is this supercycle? Well, you can think of it as a fundamental rewiring of our entire economy. And to really get a handle on it, you need to understand its three main drivers. These aren't just, separate trends happening on their own. They're actually feeding into each other and accelerating at an incredible pace. All right, let's kick things off with the main engine of this whole thing, artificial intelligence. This is the piece that really shatters the old way of doing things. For centuries, the logic was simple. If your company's revenue went up, you hired more people. Labor was the key ingredient for growth. But AI completely flips that script. Just look at the shift here. Instead of a budget for new employees, companies now have a budget for more computing power. Growth is now driven by intelligence itself, as a kind of utility, not by adding more human workers to the payroll. And this number right here, $18 trillion, this just perfectly illustrates the new world we're in. That's the value of just a handful of the biggest tech companies. And it's wealth that was built in a totally new way. They didn't have to borrow tons of money to build factories or hire these massive armies of workers. Their value is in their code, their data, and their intelligence. Okay, so that leads us right into our second pillar, because all this digital magic, it has a massive, massive physical footprint. All of that intelligence has to run on something, and that something needs an absolutely enormous amount of power. The scale is just mind-boggling. We're talking $5 trillion. That's the estimated price tag just to build out the energy infrastructure that the AI boom needs. This isn't some small upgrade. It's one of the biggest infrastructure projects in human history. So that's the big question, right? Where is all this power going to come from? And crucially, how do we get it fast? This isn't some problem for the distant future. The demand is hitting the grid right now. This race for compute power has kicked off an equally urgent race for electricity, and our traditional, slow-moving ways of building things just aren't going to cut it. So what are the immediate answers? Well, the sources are pointing to a really pragmatic mix. Solar is the quickest to get up and running. Natural gas is there to provide reliable power when the sun isn't shining. And then you've got these newer technologies, like huge battery farms, and get this, Bitcoin miners. They act as this unique type of customer for the power grid. They can buy up excess energy when no one else wants it, and then instantly shut off to free up that power when demand spikes, which actually helps stabilize the whole system. The third pillar is the financial revolution that's happening right alongside everything else. As the physical and digital worlds are being rebuilt, the financial pipes that connect it all are being rebuilt too. And that's where stablecoins come in. They're creating this new, practically frictionless financial layer for the whole world. You can think of it as the US dollar, but totally upgraded for the internet age. It's global, it's instant, and anyone can use it. A great way to think about this is like there are two casinos running side by side. The old one is the traditional banking system. It's slow, it's clunky, it's full of middlemen. The new one is digital, it's fast, and it's open to everyone. And here's the key point from the source material. Once money moves into that more efficient digital casino, it tends to stay there. It creates this incredibly powerful network effect for the US dollar. Okay, so we've got AI, a huge energy build-out, and new financial rails. What does this actually mean for investors? Well, this supercycle is going to create some very clear winners and losers, and it's going to turn a lot of the last decade's conventional wisdom on its head. This table really lays it out. What the sources are suggesting is that the gains are going to spread out way beyond just the usual tech giants. The companies that are actually building the physical stuff, the energy producers, the hardware suppliers, the innovative small-cap companies, they could be positioned for phenomenal growth. Meanwhile, some of those mega-cap tech companies, the ones spending billions to use AI rather than sell the tools for it, could actually end up underperforming. And all of this leaves us with one final, kind of mind-bending thought. For all of human history, value has been tied to scarcity. Scarce land, scarce resources, scarce labor, even scarce intelligence. But as we step into an age where intelligence itself might become abundant, maybe even unlimited, well, the entire foundation of how we decide what anything is worth is suddenly up for debate.